Good morning. Yes, good morning. Oh, right. How's everybody doing? I'm obviously going to complain that it's cold in here because that's what I do every morning. So why should it be the same? No, I'm good. Good to see you on here, Kevin. Oh, look. Let's get my chat moved. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Zed. How are you doing? No doubt you'll be writing tons of music. We've got Des. Oh, there's WC. Hello there. From Canada. I just finished playing around with yesterday's session. Brilliant. Good morning, Sean. Brilliant. So we've got a fair few on already, which is wonderful news. I'll just get myself organised. Right. Okay. Find a plectrum with a point. Okay, got a few more coming on. Perplexity, hello. Oh yes, hit the thumbs up. Got the day off work, so I can make this one. Great to see all the family. Brilliant. That's excellent, isn't it? Right, yes. So today, well, I'm going to start off and I'm going to start warming my hands up. Probably on my cup of coffee. Oh, thanks, Des. Yes, a milestone has been met. It felt really good. Honestly, it's like to get to 1,000, you have to go for it, really, unless you're already like super famous. On the lives, anyway. I mean, making content's all right, but it's like really boring compared to like just turning up and having all of you guys sitting there and then having to interact. So yes, it's brilliant, really good when I think about it. So I just need a few more watch hours, really. I'm about 180 watch hours short. And I've met the 3,000 mark, which will be pretty good. But it just shows you what you got to do, honestly. But then again, apparently, when you're doing lives, you grow a lot slower. So a lot of this is, by design, Alright, I'll tune this up. So yesterday was another one of those days where there was a lot of playing done. In fact, I was sitting playing on my God knows how many hour. I mean, I sat and I was just sitting and jamming for about 2 hours with people coming in and out and chatting to them and stuff and interacting and doing little bits of music. And I was like really getting tired. I was like, God, I can't play anymore. But it's interesting because when I get to that stage, and then I just try playing little games with myself and doing like little practice things, which I was talking about yesterday, wasn't I? Just like building little games and little technical practices in to when you're drumming and trying to cover it up. But it's that thing of hitting the walls, very interesting. I found that I was learning a lot by tab until I got onto your streams, and now it's allowing me to take a pattern or idea from a video. Brilliant. And improvise. I feel like it's opening a whole new world. Yeah, like improvisation's like the most important thing to me, because it's music's a language, and that's how we use language, isn't it? We just talk, and I just think like if you're reading music or you're just constructing music and then playing it, it's just missing out on this whole other world of language. If you're not improvising and thinking off the top of your head, you're doing music like just picking a book up and reading it, aren't you, out aloud? So to me, it's like the most important thing. Basically, a lot of my work is revolves around actually improvising. So yeah, I love it totally. And I know there's this complaint, isn't there, about the younger generation of players and Instagram doing, the best 10, 15 seconds they've done in their life that day. And I just hope they all get round to, improvising a bit, because they are missing out. But yeah, I couldn't imagine another approach. It's a thing that even when I was first started playing guitar, I was wanting to do. I was like trying to get up the top of the neck on my classical guitar, and the teacher going, "No, we're not up there yet. That's going to be, in another 10 years' time or something." And it was like getting up to the top of the neck was like something you had to graduate to at first. No, you're down here. I just think that's ridiculous, isn't it? So my creativity was being suppressed at that point. And it's a bit like, a baby, when a baby cries, they learn, or makes funny noises, right? They're learning about language, aren't they? They're learning the sensory side, like how it feels. They're learning how it sounds, like how high can I go? How low can I go? What's the middle bit of my voice like? And as adults, we don't go, stop making that ridiculous noise, do we? But yet, in an education system, when somebody's doing something like that on an instrument, the teacher's like, you're not doing it right, and everybody's like, oh, you can't play, and it's just incredibly demotivating. And I get so many people who'll say to me, oh, I'm just no good at music, I can't play an instrument. I'm just not like you at all, and it's because something like that has happened at a very, very early stage in their life, and it's not right, is it? It's a little bit sad. So I wish people would be more careful when they're talking to people when they're trying to play or learn an instrument. I mean, Victor Wooten talks about it in an interview. I remember reading an interview about him, and like his family just left instruments out, and they had like little versions for him when he was a child, when he's like literally a baby, and he could just pick them up, and as he was learning to talk, he could just like strum or play with an instrument, but he was getting used to like holding the instrument, he was getting used to like how the sound of the instrument was, how it felt. He wasn't encouraged to necessarily sit correctly and play it. It was just there. It was just the initial exposure to the instrument. And obviously he's like absolutely amazing, isn't he? Right. I think we better look at some pentatonic scales. So, I'm not 100% where to start here, so I'll start from I'll start from probably where I started. Ish. Okay. So the first thing that I think's like really handy about a pentatonic scale is, I'll tell you what, I need to get my noise gate sorted. Okay. Save. Right, that's that one done. Just do the other one as well. You can use that sound, can't we? So I think the first ever pentatonic thing that I started messing about with was the blues scale. Because initially I wanted to be able to play anything bluesy, like it was how Yngwie Malmsteen would play, right? So the first thing was this, right? And the easiest place, I'll show you it just in A minor, and then I'll show you the version in E minor, right? So 3 notes, okay, per string, A minor blues scale. And it always amazes me how perfect this is, right? So basically what we've got is we've got first finger on the 5th string on the 6th fret. And we're using 1, 3 and 4. So it's quite stretchy, that. Because we've got the 5th fret, the 8th fret and the 10th fret. Okay? And then the next thing we do is we move up to the 6th fret, and that's our flat 5. Now, I'm using, bear in mind, I'm also using economy picking. So really, that's your first bit, you just got to get that under your fingers. And then the next part of this is we're moving up just every octave, you just repeat that shape. And that's it. And there we go. Our pentatonic, sorry, our A minor blues scale. And again, so just this 6-note pattern, just repeating every octave, couldn't be easier. To be fair, whilst I'm here, we can actually use that concept for like lots of other things. For example, you could do a hexatonic scale. So we could do in A minor, we've got the root, the major 2nd or 9th, and we've got the minor 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th. I had to think there. Brain fart. And again, just as a bonus, we've also got that pattern there. So there's a couple of things. I suppose this is the hexatonic scales. You know, it's related to the family of pentatonics, so I can use that in the lesson. But really, yes, you could use anything. I mean, another way to do it, another hexatonic idea would be this. So you're starting from the minor 7th. of A minor. So we've got the minor 7, we've got the root, and we've got the 2nd and 9th there, 3rd, 4th and 5th. So that's another cool thing you could do. Alright. Everybody okay with that? So that's the first little, quick fire ideas. But super handy. Just, coming up with a pattern across 2 strings and then repeating it every octave. It's also a way you can visualize your pentatonic scales as well. And this is like coming out that 3-note per string. If you're having difficulty learning shapes, if you took just this part of the pentatonic scale, just from the root, you can build up a visualization where all these parts are, and you've got 4 of the 5 notes. So you just have to link them. So it's a good way to kind of practice. It's a good way to practice sort of visualizing the fretboard as well, doing these octave positions. Right, everybody fine with that? I've got a feeling everybody probably knew that first bit. So when we come to straight pentatonic stuff, it's a little bit different. Okay, it's a little bit more trickier. All right, so I tend to think of it. I never think of like the big scale to like improvise on. Because it's quite hard to play this. But I'm going to take you through in E minor what like a big giant pentatonic scale would look like. Okay, and I suppose technically this would be G. It's starting on G, which would make this like G major pentatonic, but it's actually also E minor. I always think in the minor for some reason. Probably because my teacher told me to, and I didn't question it, and I'll do that. But it's never. I know Thomas does this as well. He thinks in the minor, but it's never. I don't know what the reason was, but it doesn't matter. You could relate everything to a mode if you wanted, but it's either major or minor. People say modes of the major scale, won't they? But yeah. So anyway, really, I'm starting this in a G major position just to make things confusing, but I'm thinking in E minor. Right. And then when I do this, I'll have a coffee, I think. Okay, so here we go. So this isn't like octave repeating. This goes like this. Right, so we've got G. So the first bit's fairly okay. We've got to be careful about the fingering, so I'm using 1, 2, 4. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to jump up a 5th. And we're using that same fingering, but we're using 1, 2, 4. Another thing, this is really good exercise, really, to just practice keeping your fingers as low and close to the strings as you can, whether it's legato or picking. I literally kind of, with me, I almost slide that first finger. If I'm doing legato, there's a bit of movement from the first finger. But the legato is a great way of practicing the transition and getting it clean. Because especially if you're doing hammers only, you have to hit the fret in the optimum point where the note's going to pop out, which I like. I find it incredibly rewarding. Yeah. So my guitar bass, technically this would work that on bass, wouldn't it? Because you're the first 4 strings. Just ignore what I'm doing on the B and E strings when I get up there. So practicing at hammers only, practicing at picking, keeping the action low and smooth, like that. All good. The other thing to look at when we're doing these pentatonic scales is what you'll find yourself as doing this expansion construct. God, I can't. My words won't come out today. This shrinking and expanding thing, okay, which is perfectly fine. Tom Quayle talks about this. Okay. So a bit of that's fine. And the next pattern is just the same as this one. So fingering wise, the first 3 strings are pretty easy to get our heads around because we're just going 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, and then obviously the 4 here is you're stretching right up to the 10th fret. Same finger pattern, stretching right up to the 12th fret. Okay. So we are approaching position 1, and so this is position 5. So this way the pattern changes slightly. So we've got 1, 3, and 4. So this is an area you might want to practice, because the fingering switches round, doesn't it? And then from here, right, this is the tricky bit. Because we've got an extra fret jump, we're actually going to drum all the way from the 9th fret to the 12th fret and play the same pattern. Oops. And then we're back to the beginning on the next one. And I just keep the same fingering. So this time I'm going to play 1, 3, and 4. Hi, morning Jeff, how you doing? And obviously morning to Mike's, and see you on here before. So, okay, did we all follow that? And I'll just play through it again really slow. So you can see that expansion and contraction happening there as I play slowly. So a cool thing about this is it's going to get used to the different 3 notes per string. Basically positions, fingerings that you're going to have to use, because that's all of them. And it's also going to get you used to visualizing it 3 notes per string across the fretboard this way. Okay. What you can do is just mess about with the idea, you know. So there might be little jump off areas which you like. So for example, you might just want to go and then into oops. Into your regular 2 note per string ideas, you know. So I think like where the real gold is with using 3 note per strings is how you use them in conjunction with 2 note per strings, and especially like anything that's 2-1-2 patterns as well. Okay, so it's just mixing it all up. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for a second and just let you digest, right? Because that's quite a big thing. And if we've got any questions, if you can just ask me the questions. If you're sitting with your guitar there, or if you haven't got your guitar and there's something that comes to mind, just ask now. Now, there's no such thing as a ridiculous question, right? In fact, it's really important that we ask ridiculous things because you just don't know. It might be something that I didn't think of. Right, WC's got it. Brilliant. And if it's going slightly off topic, like picking angles or legato issues or anything like that, that's all relevant. Like everything that's happening now to do with making those notes happen is all relevant. Okay? But WC's got it, which is marvellous. I'm going to get a new thermos flask. This one's getting retired. I just don't like it. It's too thick. It's not the right colour. The cap. What is that? Like, the other one used to just shoot up and make me look cool. This one's just doesn't do anything. So it's getting sacked. I'm letting it go. All right. Anybody else? So Des, it's like working for the council, this, isn't it? It's just like a little bit of work, and then like a break, and then I don't know, talk about like retirement, going to Benidorm for your holidays. In fact, Des, are you here? Because Des, as you're like an expert teacher, if I miss something out in the heat of the moment, just point out. No, we don't get to retire, do we? Retire and return. Oh, check this out. Is he the guy with the blonde hair? He's got hair like mine. I've been teaching Marco Peroni from Adam and the Ants for the past month or so. How mad is that? Yeah, because I saw Adam and the Ants play like about 13 years ago. So that's amazing that you're teaching him. And I remember the guitarist looked really cool, and he had the blonde bobbed hair, and I thought that's I could be doing that. All right, we've got some other people here. Oh yes, I love it when the chat gets busy. Oh, now I can move it to here. Right, but look at the camera when I'm talking, Tim. Yes. So Des has been teaching Adam and the Ant. That's absolutely so cool. Get an autograph for me, please. Des is very right. I don't think musicians get to retire. We just get worked to death. Especially if you've got a missus like mine and she realises that, like, basically you can teach lessons whenever. So if she wants something like, you can be in your spare time, you can be doing something, can't you? Making a bit more for the family. Very cool. Linking this to some of the mimicking phrasing from yesterday, excellent, because it's all about, I think the most fun thing for me when I get dead excited is like when I link patterns together. You can see it in my face just by talking about it. When I link two patterns together, especially if it's really obvious stuff that I should have known when I first ever started playing guitar, I'm like, oh, this is incredible. I've just found something. It's like finding a new island. I feel like or land, the Marco Polo of the guitar world. Thank you, awesome. Glad you're enjoying it. Agreed. Thank you, Perplexity. And do as Perplexity is the trigger for me to go. And anybody who's just come on here, please subscribe and like. Gilberto, greetings from Mexico. Hello. Glad you're on here. Right, we're doing 3 notes per string pentatonic. All right, back to the grind. All right, so we've got our big position here, and of course, with these positions, this isn't the only one. There are more, okay? But rather than going through all the positions, I think one thing to do, right, is explore yourself. So you've got this as a frame. You've got the initial sort of big pentatonic starting from G. But just have a go yourself at starting it from different positions. I mean, you quickly run out of frets, okay? But want to be thinking about the pentatonic scales like this way as well as this way, right? So we're going to come to this way, right? And I never liked doing this because you had a note repeating. So I was like, but actually, this is really, really handy. What you can do is you can think of it like combining two note per string patterns together, two scale positions together. So, for example, if we do this in position 1, we would get this. Now, it's really hard to get rid of the triplet sound because you've got a note repeating. So it's not, I don't think it's because I've got no control in my hand. It's because we've got that note repeating, which is actually cool because it does give you quite a nice sort of rhythmic variations on stuff. So I'll take you through it slowly. So we've got 1, 3, 4 in E minor. We're starting on the 12th fret. And then we've got 1, 2, 1, 2, 4. And we're stretching right up to the 17th fret there. We're going to repeat that. 1, 2, 4, same shape. And then we're going to bring the fourth finger in 1 fret. And we're going to go 1, 2, 4, but it comes in so. You've got to watch out for that. So just practicing that position shift in. That's going to happen quite a lot, so it's a good one to practice that. Going on from there. So we've got 1, 2, 4, and then we've got 1, 3, 4, and 1, 3, 4. So there's like lots of little licks you can do there where you get repeating notes and then you can bust out and go into your other stuff, right? So this technique that I'm using in my hand, right, I'll do one of two things, right? When I'm ascending, I just keep the motion like economy. I don't really do alternate picking unless there's a sequence that requires it on my legato. So, and then descending, it's always the pick. What I will do though, a lot of the time, and you'll see this kind of sneaky little hybrid thing that happens, is I'll start using just my second finger on ascending. And then the pick will come in on the descend. And that the logic behind that is instead of using plastic, the attack of the plastic and having that texture in the sound, I'm just matching the legato smoothness that's coming from flesh with flesh. So I get that blunter attack sound. So that's quite pointy with the pick. Blunt. So obviously we can use these all over the fretboard. And you can just go through all of your positions doing this. So it'd be a good thing to work those out for yourself. So once you get this one, a tip would be to expand either side of your basically root position of your pentatonic scale. So that could be the next one. Oops, what am I doing? And this will be your next one. Quite an awkward one, that one. So this is a thing I've started using on certain things. I'll do like one little lick that I'll do. It's like these groups of 7. So I'll show you that. So I'm starting again E minor, and we're starting on the note E on the 5th string. And that's the pattern. And you just repeat that across the strings. Oops. And then you can just descend like that. So yeah, you can combine it with all of your other stuff quite easily. Right, I need to catch up on the chat here because I think there are questions. Okay, a bit of a conversation going on, I think, maybe about Adam and the Ant. Oh, Marco is the original player from the 80s. That's really interesting, isn't it? And he had the big jazz guitar, didn't he? Thank you, Perplexity. Hit the like. Hello, Tanmay. We're doing 3 notes per string pentatonic scales. This will be right up your street. Yep, Tanmay in the house. Brilliant. Tanmay, absolutely always looking to subscribe for informational content. Oh, here we go. Catch up on some of the older videos on this channel. They make great study music, especially if you're actually studying music. Excellent. Yeah, so do you refer to that as position 1 because you're on the 12th fret, and the other would be on the position... It's position 1 because, yeah, it's the root note E, and we're in E minor. So that becomes position 1. And then the next position's 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then that's it. You've only got 5 positions because we're in the pentatonic. Right, not a dumb question. This would make some great 2-string sequences, it would, and we'll probably come to that. It's very stretchy. You're going to have to get used to the stretch. Yeah. So, stretching's a big part of it. And you've got, believe you me, once you do it enough, you can get used to it just the same. You just got to stick with it, okay? So your 2 note per string, 3 note per string, just straight scales. That will feel as comfortable, okay? Just got to put the time in. Got to put the work in, haven't we? Okay. So, well, we're giving you one sequence. That's that. Alright. So, other things we can do, which I think is super handy. Obviously, we've got notes repeating going across the fretboard. And we've also got notes not repeating going this way up the fretboard. But the problem is, right, what if we want to go not have notes repeating and move horizontally across the fretboard? That is going to be, sorry, vertically, that's going to be a challenge, isn't it? Well, it is and it isn't, because there is a solution. So let's say we were playing something where... Oops. And then we suddenly wanted to jump across 3 strings and not have to do that kind of position shift. Maybe that. Or... That's more useful, isn't it? Right. Okay, so we could do this for a simple picking type lick, right? Oh, my hands are like Donald Trump there. Not getting political. What's all that coming? Where's that coming from? So what we're doing here, right, is we're going to do a 6-note sequence, right? And we're going to do 3 notes per string, pentatonic, and we're just going to ascend diatonically. Diatonically meaning within the scale on that pentatonic. So we're starting again E minor pentatonic. We're starting from the 7th, which would be D. So I'm referring to the 7th as the chord tone. Okay. The first sequence of this is this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's an accent on the first one. Yes, so if earlier on in the video, Tanmay, actually the first thing I do is the blues scale in 3 notes per string. But there you go, there's the 3, you could jump off there and put the flat 5 in. But anyway, that's not quite what we're doing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to come up the next position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to do the next position. Just that. So that's the first bit. So first position shift, 1, 2, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. Or you could do, yeah, I mean, I'll probably do 1, 3, 4 there. Or you could do 1, 2, 4, might be better. Okay, and then this last bit, we're going to run up a scale. Right, so this is how we don't get the repeating notes. So again, we're in the first position of E minor pentatonic. And this is the bit we're going to add on. So we're going to play 1, 2, 4. Okay, but we're only going to play on the 4th string 1 note. So we've got 3 notes, 1 note, and then we're going to have 3 notes. So we're going to do the 1, 2, 3 there, and then we're going to have 1 note, and then we're going to have 3 notes. And that way, we can have the pentatonic scale going across. So yeah, really handy having that. So I'll explain a bit about the technique that we're going to use. So for this, I want the picking. It's very much a picked thing. Not really a legato thing. Okay, so this part, we're going to use economy picking. So just think of it as a big sweep picking arpeggio. You could do that to get your head around it. So because we're using economy picking and we've got 3 notes per string, when I start something with 3 notes per string, it's always a downstroke. If I start something with 2 notes per string, it's an upstroke. So that's important information there. We're doing 3 notes, so we're going to be a downstroke. So we're going to go down, up, down, down. And that nicely takes us to a downstroke on the next group of 3 notes. Down, up, down, 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 up, down. And that, like, once you master that economy picking thing, it'll open the door for you to do absolutely amazing stuff. Well, you could do it alternate, right? So Tanmay, you could do it alternate picking, but it'll be very hard because the direction of the pick is changing all the time. See, so it's interesting. So before you go down the path of, because I've got a feeling, Tanmay, you're thinking, I want to alternate pick this and not do economy picking. I think firstly, the modern guitar player does lots of different techniques, yeah? And I think we've got to be careful that people don't do what I did for years, is to pigeonhole yourself. And I pigeonholed myself like that I was only an outside picking person. And I got this from other bits and information of Paul Gilbert saying that, like, basically stronger playing outside of the strings. So you have an outside player who plays outside, which means you're using pretty much the same direction. I know, like, certain licks he'll do 2 downs or 2 ups to actually make something more playable. But actually, there's no escaping inside picking. If you're playing anything that's 3 notes per string, you're going to end up at some point doing that inside motion. Okay. So my advice is to embrace the inside motion for a start. If you need help with that, Troy Grady's stuff's amazing, okay? And I mean, I used that for a bit, and I got really good results just on inside picking, okay? So you do need to be able to do that. But actually, alternate picking, because of the nature of it, and you're playing something that's 3-1, 3-1, every time you're starting the next part of that lick, you're on a different... you're using a different motion on the pick, so like everything changes. So there's more muscle memory that you have to process. And because you're processing that physical information, okay, which is just it's just getting over some strings, right? It's like really boring, isn't it? It's like, well, it's just a physical thing. It's like, it's not making, it's not the notes. It's just a kind of motion, isn't it? And that you have to think about. You have to really think about that. And it was always, if I came up with something difficult in an improvisation or a lick I want to put in, I'd think, right, now I've got to think about this, right? And I hated that. I just hated that feeling of like stopping my flow and thinking about how to get over that musical mountain. And you're thinking about it and you just mess your improvisation up. So economy picking is a decision I made because I knew that I would be thinking less in the end about the technique, But of course, it's like building up that belief in yourself. So I put it off. I was like, oh no, I don't want to do it. Oh, it's the time, all this sort of stuff. and it meant, oh, my playing's going to have to go back. And some of that is true. Okay, I did. I mean, I could still alternate pick. I just had to work a way out to alternate pick and then introduce the economy picking things that I could introduce. And the thing that helped me was testing myself out of destruction on Thomas's lives, you know, and eventually just saying in my head, I'm going to make myself do a whole session economy picking. As much as I possibly could, and almost banning the alternate picking thing, which you naturally put in anyway. But I had to do that to get the data that I want to be able to review where I was. And to be fair, I mean, I did put the time in. I got the economy. I mean, I was kind of stably using it after about 3 or 4 months. It didn't take as long as I thought it would. 6 months, it was embedded, and that was like the number one technique I was using. But I mean, Des you'll probably, because I think you were there with me on this crazy economy picking journey that I did at the time. I remember I started in November, and I was sort of up and running with it. Like, might have been the end of October. I remember November, December, and it was kind of coming together. In January, it was happening. Something like that, a couple of years ago. But now I couldn't. Like, I just love it so much. It's so easy to do things. I mean, Des is pointing out a few things here. Yes, Des is this lick is designed for economy picking. Yeah. Although we have the one, you know, there is alternate picking in it. If you were to come down, this is the thing, right? If you were to come down this, then you've got an inside motion there. So this part, the turnaround, because we end on a down, is going to be alternate, and it's going to be an inside motion. So that's why we need to be able to do. That's the caveat that needs to not be overlooked, that you will end up, if you are going to alternate pick with economy picking licks, you are going to end up on an inside motion, so don't overlook it. So yes, so Des is right, designed for economy picking. Okay, got it. I'm down with pick slanting. I'm down the pick right now. Okay, so that's good, but not necessarily a rabbit hole. It's to get you out of the rabbit hole. It's the shovel to make your own hole with, to get out of the rabbit hole. Tanmay. Understanding the mechanics of the right hand picking, yeah. So you are going to have to, you know, study inside motion to some degree. Troy Grady. And is huge. All of my alternate 3 notes per string sound entirely like a triplet feel. I want to get rid of that so bad, right? Okay. All right, let's have a look at that. So, yeah, so if you're encountering that, okay, what you need to do is you need to take note of the time feel. Now, the person who's really good at this is Tom Quayle. And the way to understand it is maybe doing legato. So I'll zoom in. So what you want to think about is we want the rhythm to be equal, all right? And the problem that we have when we're getting the 3 notes per string is because of the physicality of the guitar. If we're putting 3 notes per string on an instrument, and we're going to our next string change, it's obvious that we're going to accent that string change because it's physically a different thing. So it's a slightly different sound when we change strings, which gives you that triplet feel when you don't want it. So So you get that sound, right? So the first thing to do is to be aware of where all the main beats are on which finger. So, for example, the way I'll think about it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when we do 1 again, it's going to be on the second finger. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 1's there. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. Right, sorry, wrong note. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we've got 1 again, but this time it's on the fourth finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Back on the first. 2, 3, 4. 1. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 2. Now you can hear when I start kind of counting them out aloud in my head, it gets rid of that triplet feel. So you've got a couple of ways you can practice this. We can do hammers only and legato. Oops. We've got pick. Which is a tricky one, because what you're trying to do is disguise the attack of the pick. Well, this is the way I'll do it. With the finger. So there's a couple of different options there, but basically you need to be aware and thinking of it in sort of like groups of 4. On the understanding that each group is going to start on a different finger. And that'll kind of help. That'll help you start controlling it. Oh, Stelly's here. Wonderful. Hi, Stelly. Oh, you just woke up. Very nice. Morning. Okay, that's brilliant. So that solves that problem, doesn't it, Tanmay? Excellent. Right. And that's a good, very important point, Sos. I'm glad you've brought that up. Okay. Now, what was I going to do? So yes, so there's like a way of getting around scale positions, the pentatonic scale, across the strings. So let's move on from there. So something else we could do is little handy licks like this. So I like these things where they jump about a fourth. And there's 4 positions we can do it in without getting into really complicated fingerings. So I'll just show you this. I mean, if you wanted, you could put in, you could do that. Which means we'll be putting in, it'd be a hexatonic scale. But we'll just stick with this. So again, we're in position 1, and what I'm doing is I'm on the second string and I'm playing those 3 notes, but then I'm barring with the 4th finger. And we're just going up and down. So you can move it about as well. So let's just get this right. This would be your initial priming exercise. And what you can do is just to practice. I mean, I do this with hybrid. So occasionally I'll just repeat those two notes. Sometimes I find it a bit awkward. Depends how fast I'm going. But you could pick it. So, and then to move the positions, slide, hammer, hammer, hybrid. And we can just, we can get up and down the fretboard like that. And you can just play with fragments of it. So another variation we could do is now what I'm doing there, we've got the fourth, and then I'm using third finger on that minor third note, G. And you can just move that about the pentatonic scale. And then when you practice any of these, what I like to do is just practice a finishing phrase or maybe a starting phrase with it. Just make things more musical than just doing an exercise. Now you can continue this down the scale as well. Which I'm wondering if I should do, because it might consume the rest of the session. So 2 seconds. And I'll just zoom out. Speaking of just waking up, I'm sorry that I haven't been around much, Tim. My computer is now making us developers go back into the office, so I can't listen to this. So I can only listen to the streams in the car. Alright, not to worry. It's here for you when you want, Peter, and you can just listen back to it, which is amazing. I'm still lurking and learning, though. Just can't comment as much as I'd like to bring. No, that's perfectly fine. All good. Nice to have you on here, Pete. Really good. So, what happens if I push this button? I'll demonstrate a few things. sort of lick thing. So there you go. You can use it to devastating effect. Hi Mark, I worked from home for 3.5 years. They made us come back to the office, so I quit. Oof, must be hard. I say. You're the man, Timothy. Did you used to struggle with upstrokes, Hutch? Me being a metal player, downstrokes feel so much more natural. No, because I made sure that I kind of balanced it out. But obviously, if you're playing a lot of punk and stuff like that, when I say that, I have had issues before. It's just your muscles like building up, isn't it? Just doing downs, and it's more in your muscle memory than it is doing ups. Yes, I mean, if you're doing that all the time, it's going to happen, isn't it? But really, the solution to the problem is to do upstrokes, isn't it? I mean, that's my alternate picking. So, like, really, you know, one thing you could do is the Paul Gilbert exercise. Which I find a little bit tricky. Mark, you made the right decision. Late night in Brazil, taking care of my dog, and you're making me company. Thank you. No, thank you, Noir. And also, just please, if you're not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. There's lots of things going on there. At the minute, might be a coffee time, you know. Oh, I've got a bit left. Oh, Big Bend Blues. Right, no, that's a big band. Big Bend Blues. Hi there. So everybody, whatever you do now, subscribe to the channel, okay? So there's lots of things happen on here, and I go through phases, I know this. So at the minute, I'm really into like just teaching a bit of guitar. I'm really enjoying it. I think when you teach people something, it definitely reinforces your knowledge as well. So I mean, this helps me just as much as it's kind of helping you. It allows me to get clarity in my thoughts and a little bit of insight into my own playing and how I do things, which is quite, it's revealing at times. So I really do enjoy this, and I tend to have phases, and I think this is a really important thing to notice. Like if I was doing things properly on this channel, I might want to balance it out. So I might want to go, oh, I'll do music production Monday. So these are all the things I could do, right? Music production Monday, let's do mixing, or let's write a track with electronic instruments, or I could, but at the minute, I go with my interest, right? And what my gut is like, it's just like guitar at the minute. I'm really enjoying guitar. I'm really enjoying live looping, so like everything's sort of about that. And so whatever I'm learning at the time, whilst it's hot in my head and I'm interested, because I'm interested in something, I want to know everything about it. So it's a really good time for me to be just streaming on YouTube when I'm like super interested in something, rather than the alternative is when it's something I already know and I'm just regurgitating it for the sake of entertainment people. It's not as special. I mean, obviously the value is still the same to you guys, but I think you get just a tiny little bit of value when I'm super interested. And also, if I'm doing something new as well, I'm going to make mistakes and things like that. And actually, this teaching thing, I mean, normally what you would do, right, is you would probably go, well, I'm just going to do one live lesson a week or one masterclass a month. But me being me, right, I noticed, right, and this is a common problem that I've identified in lots of pro players as well. So I was beating myself up about it, but then I beat myself less. It's because when people ask you to demonstrate something, a lot of the time your playing absolutely turns to shit. And you can't do it, or you're struggling to do it. And that's really interesting. So I thought I need to overcome this. Now, the way to overcome something is exposure, isn't it? Graded exposure, just exposing yourself to a little bit of the thing that you can't do, that you fear, that you don't believe that you can do. So you just do a little bit of it. So for a while now, and this is probably evident on previous videos, that somebody would ask me to do something and then I'd be like, and then just completely all over the place and like crap playing. And then, okay, once I start improvising again. So I noticed this and I thought, you know what, I need to brush up on this. So the best way to practice is frequency, isn't it? So when I'm sitting here teaching you lessons and going, it's 3 notes per string pentatonic, I'm actually practicing. And yesterday we did something else. I can't remember what it was, interesting arpeggios. And then there was something else the day before that, some 2-1-2 thing. And all the time what I'm actually doing is breaking things down and practicing the art of teaching these things live to people. It's different when I'm in a class on like 1-to-1, but when you're on the spot on the live and there's like new people coming on, they're seeing you for the first time, it's difficult. So a lot of this kind of fumbling about and messing about is because as I'm doing this session with you guys, I'm actually practicing. Probably not what everybody would want to do with the lives, just stressing themselves out. But the more I do it, the more casual I get at talking to the camera, the more open and honest I am, because we're all human, and I love that side of it. And I think, because there's an element of this wonderful perfection, especially in guitarists. In fact, Western society is totally obsessed with perfection. And I think a lot of it's wrong, I think we're going to let it all hang out. We make mistakes. Doing the best 15-second constructed video is fine. But let's talk about, just expressing your innermost of feelings and emotion yourself, using your own unique style is where it's at for me, and that means making mistakes. And mistakes are good. Mistakes are character. Look at Japanese philosophy, wabi-sabi, okay? Ancient Japanese philosophy from the 1200s. There's a great video Alain Botton does on YouTube that I would suggest watching. It's only 10 minutes long. But I love that philosophy, appreciating something that's broken because it has a soul, and they appreciate that. In our society, Western society, we're obsessed with perfect geometry, okay? square windows, oblong windows, straight buildings. But there's something romantic and interesting about a ruined castle or a stone with some moss on it. It has a soul and it has a story, and we can make that story up in our heads. It inspires creativity. Just like our playing not being perfect tells a story, doesn't it? When you hear Hendrix play, not every note's perfect, but you can hear his mood and his emotion, and you can reflect on that, and you can think about, I wonder what day he had when he before he started playing that. Was he arguing with the missus? Did he have some bad news? Was he really happy? Was it his birthday? You know, and we want to hear that in a player, don't we? And I love like how Victor Wooten puts it in one of his books, The Music Lesson, because he talks about the main character in it who's like a music coach. He's coaching this other guy, and he talks about music and dynamics and feel a bit like stalking and listening to it and absorbing another player, a bit like stalking a deer, an animal in a forest, and looking at where a deer had been. And you could see that it was like happy because it was walking about just grazing, and then something had startled it, so you could tell that it had ran off because the footprints were wider apart and the back legs were deeper into the soft soil. And they're reading these prints. Well, we can read players like that, or at least we can pretend or enjoy reading players like stalking an animal, which I love the idea of that. And I think that's great. And that just, when I hear a guitarist playing so, especially if I know it's improvised, then that really draws me into the performance. And because it's not perfect, it's unpredictable. And because it's unpredictable, it's exciting. And it tells a story of now, and it's expressionism. And that's what we need. It's important because AI has got perfection covered for us. Okay, we can have perfect gent music, we can have perfect solos done and all that, right? But what it can't do is it doesn't know what we're going to do next, right? Or how we're going to do it. It's working in the past. So the future is very, very important. And it's super important, take heed everybody, that we express ourselves, our own individual characters. So when you're learning 3 notes per string for me, I hope that you embed that into your style and that you undo everything that I've shown you, okay? And think about how you can use it to reflect your metaphor that you're trying to tell. So sorry, you probably weren't expecting that the speech at the end, but I have to give you it because that's what's really important, the golden thing. It's how we're reflecting ourselves. Because we're everybody who's on here, we're all different. And we all need to be sounding different. We don't want to be copying, because there's lots of copying. We want to be different. Like and subscribe. Right. We've got some stuff. Right, so there's Big Band. Great to have you on here. Dorieto Garcia. I have dyslexia, so I'm really bad at names. I have a private instructor, but he never shows what I need to learn, but instead he asks me what I want to learn. Should I look for a new instructor instead? He never has a plan, but waits for me to ask. Well, I quite like that if you're an artist, right? And I quite like the dynamics of him asking you. But if you don't know what you're wanting to learn, then that's not a good situation to be in, because one thing we need to learn as musicians is that we have to be we need to be proactive, not reactive. So if he then just makes something up that he thinks you should be doing, then basically you're not in control. Okay, so it's best to have an idea stylistically what you're trying to achieve, what you're interested in, and then telling your tutor about that and getting him to teach you along those lines. But also, it's down to the tutor for the skills to plug any holes or gaps in your knowledge through using this special interest that you have, because that special interest is kind of your motivation in a way. That's how I think about it. So I'll kind of use that, but I'll also use that as a sweetener to install the other essential skills that you need, so there's no sort of like gaps in knowledge. That's the way I would do it. But I think it's good to go in your lesson with an idea of what you want to do, but it's down to the tutor to then install all the fundamentals around that, using it as a sweetener. I think that kind of makes sort of sense. That's truly authentic of you, Hutch. And interestingly enough, not trying to take work away from him, I am doing the odd lesson. So if you wanted a lesson, right, where you wanted clarity on what you're wanting to do with that tutor, it might be worth booking in a lesson with me, more of a coaching guitar lesson, and then we can have a look at what direction you want to go in, and then that teacher could then follow on from that, because at least that way you would have a roadmap. So, my email is in the about and the description of this, so you could email me about that. And then if you want to do a one-to-one lesson / coaching, we can get clarity on how you want to develop yourself. What style are you going to be? What is that going to entail? Once we have that information, you can take that to your teacher, and then he can then plan for that. In fact, that's a really good idea when I think about it. That's a great way to use my time. What was that a 1-4-5? I don't know. It was an E minor, and it was like C, D, and E minor, something like that. But I had like this weird suspended ninth chord hanging over the whole thing. I'll do chords at some point. Yeah, wabi sabi. So I've got a couple of minutes left, and then I'm going to go for my walk. That's my treat. That's my reward for coming here and being good and teaching everybody stuff. Transylvania. I should go for a wabi-sabi pilgrimage to Transylvania and sit in a ruin and contemplate my life. Obviously, you could come as well, Stelly. When it's snowing, I want to be in a ruin, contemplate my life with nice thick snow, like that video you showed me. That was brilliant. I loved that. So thank you. What are the traits of a good? Probably everything that I've just said. Before. Hi Tom, do subscribe please on YouTube, because we've got a few Twitch people coming over. So my main platform, I know this is naughty saying this on Twitch, but hey. So my main platform is YouTube. So if you find me on YouTube, Tim Hutch, I'm there, and if you give me a subscribe and a thumbs up, that would be brilliant. No AI music for me ever. No, thank you. Yeah, you stick with that. That's a good idea, because it's not. I mean, AI can do certain jobs. That's a different thing. But when it's building whole songs, it's not a good idea. Learn and then unlearn. I like that idea. Letting go. Thinking about how you can use something. Some plugins have a humanized function for a reason. This is true. Oh yeah, the deep house session. I better. Oh right, so I'm glad you reminded me. So that'll happen tomorrow, because when I get in tonight, I'll set up for that, because I've got the one thing I didn't think of is all of those sounds that I used to my drum set. I can't remember what I used to use, but I've got them all. So I'll dig something out and I'll make a kit. So because I think deep house, I think that's going to be quite good, because you could do whole like deep house guitar jam sessions really, and it'd be a good way to practice. The speech is great. Thank you, WC. I'm not so good on guitar. Don't worry about it. Just a bit of practice will be fine. And, you're in the right place to get ideas and start. And anyway, it's not about like being amazingly shredding. It's just being able to express yourself. I mean, Nirvana did all right, didn't he? Kurt Cobain, he knew how to express himself with just very little, and totally revolutionized music in doing so. I appreciate this session very much once again, but it's time for bed. In Canada, I'm excited to revisit the lesson tomorrow and hit the school of McRock along with improvisation. Brilliant, there you go. What a perfect combination that is. Deep house music tomorrow. Exactly, Tim. Thank you, Des. I'm going to schedule it straight after here. I'm going to be really good and schedule it so we definitely know that it's deep house. I don't know what to call it. Deep house guitar shred, deep house guitar something. I'll think. I'll work it out. I'll do my walk and then. I'd take Tim up on that offer. Sounds like a good plan. Yeah, and it'll make your teacher's life so much easier as well. And you will be proactive. That's what I want. I did see the video of the snow. It was absolutely amazing. I wish that's what I like. I love snow. The snow. AI will replace almost everything in music and video. Might want to get around that idea. I am getting around that idea. That's why I'm here. This is the modern musician sitting in here. One human being talking to other human beings, and that is it. Based on Seth Godin's 1,000 True Fans, and at the end of the day, you can make money out of music, and support your interests is the theory, and so far it's working all right. But we need to know with AI the question that we need to ask ourselves, right, coming from a music coach point of view, is this. What is going to be left? And whatever you think's going to be left, that's what we're focused on. And that's what I'm doing. I'm focusing on what I think is going to be left. But I'm also, I'm horrified, but also really excited about this whole technical revolution, because it is a revolution. It's like the Industrial Revolution to me. But we need to be prepared, not consumed. See you later, Tanmay. Great having you on here. See you tomorrow, because you'll be right up for the bit of deep house. I'll stick to man-made music or person-made music or whoever made music. Human-made music. Right, I'm just putting the thumbs up. I've got to go now. Deep in Guitar House. Cheers, Tim. Thanks for the session. As always, been a pleasure. Have a great day, WC. And I've got to go, so I'll see you tomorrow for Deep House Guitar something. All right? And it's going to be good. It's a paradigm shift. Yes. All right, thanks, everybody. Where's the button where I switch it off? Oh, yeah, I'll use this one. This is more professional. If I push this. No doubt it is terrifying with AI replacing things. At the same time, open up a huge door. Yeah, and it's going to be something we're going to talk about, Mech, because I feel like we're going to have a discussion about this next week. But I need to gather my thoughts. All right. Catch you later. Bye.